Right, James Burke's connections, like he did 6 episodes of this. I spent a day on this, so I've bookmarked everything. It's all written down here. So here we go. No prizes for guessing what this, which operation. This one's pre-advertising. Okay, this is in episode 1 called the trigger effect. I've already covered this one before because it starts with the trade towers, him standing at the top of the trade towers, and it ends with the Space Needle, him in a Space Needle, but there's a hell of a lot more, so I'm going to get to the various points. Right, here we go, 4:35, bear with me, here we go. Okay, there he is, standing on top of the trade towers.
It's one of the biggest, most complex cities in the world, full of people using things as if...
There you go. Right, so it starts with that. Then, yeah, let's go to 8:50. You're going to love this.
5:15 at Kennedy Airport. At one of the international terminals, on the board, Scandinavian Airlines 911. 911.
Yeah, it just happens to be flight 911, and then he goes on to say that, oh yes, flight 911 was in trouble, heading straight for Manhattan. Yes, can you believe it? And he's standing on the trade towers while saying it. Hold on, let's get to that actually. 14:50.
The generators continued to trip out, and at Kennedy Airport, the radar screens went black. And Flight 911 was in trouble.
Roland, I got flight warning, switch.
Well, you saw the rabbis there as well. Blackout, I'll get to the blackout in a second. That's 4:11, and he even says 4:11. Can you believe it? Yes.
That's right, Scandinavian 911.
Captain Lofsted had only a few seconds left to make his decision. He was at 2,000 feet, past the airport and heading straight for Manhattan.
911 plane heading straight for Manhattan while he's standing on the trade towers. Come on. Right. What else we got? 13:50. Yeah, let me get to that.
Give access to the ears of the delegates. The United Nations was suddenly and totally disunited, as completely as if at war.
Right. So the blackout, as if at war. Like they always, well, nowadays they black out the lights for war. Now, here we go. This is the big one now. Listen.
Magnets set around this metal cup caused it to rotate, and that brought this arm to make a contact like this. That contact was made on the evening of November the 9th, 1965, at 16 minutes and 11 seconds.
There. That's 4:11. If you go on the 24-hour clock, that's 4:11. And it's blackout. It's all about the blackout in New York and America in general at that time. So you got 4:11 blackout. So you got 4:11, 9/11 so far, and of course 22/22, the Corona masks. What else we got? Hold on. Yeah, he talks about the harvest. Yeah, of course he does. Here we go.
With a handful of technology, the wheel, the irrigation canals, the loom, a calendar, pen and ink, some cutting tools, simple metallurgy, and the plough, the invention that triggered it all off. And yet look how complex and sophisticated their civilization was, and how soon it happened after that first man-made harvest.
There you go. There's your harvest, the man-made harvest, and then he mentions control as far as I remember. So you got the October-November period, the harvest period, for these ops, 3:11 and 4:11.
The Egyptian plough, and those of the few other civilizations that sprang up around the world at the same time, gave us control over nature.
There you go, control. So harvest and control. And then, of course, he's standing in a space needle. Let's see if we can get images of it. There you go. And of course it's the trigger effect. Well, they're triggering their NWO. So Seattle Space Needle and reference. Now, that's only part 1. Now, part 2, what did he say? Right, this one's called Death in the Morning. Yeah. And it's a nuke reference because he's sitting in the Enola Gay. There he is, he's in there, he's in the Enola Gay itself. So you've got your nuke, and of course Red Dawn. So I expect it to be dawn in Seattle when they do it on November the 3rd, I guess. And most interestingly, at 37:42.
Stations like Ben Nevis were set up and people could sit and look at the weather as it shifted and changed, they noticed that it made distinct patterns. So in good Victorian style, they catalogued them. And in the 1890s, came up with an official international cloud atlas.
Cloud atlas. Remember, this is the late 1970s, he's saying, this cloud atlas. Look. Now that's CO-19 Atlas Comet, of course, and they all got comets on them, on their tattoos, right? So that's what your COVID-19 is. It's Cloud Atlas, of course, the comet. But look, 311 right there, and it's 311, and then the 2 can be an 11, or it can even be 311-2020. But there you go, 311, right on her, Cloud Atlas. Yeah. Everything's connected. Everything's connected, look. What's this whole video about? James Burke's Connections. Connected. It's a reference to this. Cloud Atlas. Go again, because you've got to hear that.
And in the 1890s, came up with an official international cloud atlas.
Everything's connected. Connections. James Burke's Connections. And of course, the whole series is about that. How it's all about building blocks and learning by mistake. It's a very interesting series on that level, on the predictive programming level. It's extremely interesting too. Alright, so you got that. What else we got in episode 2? Maybe nothing else. Oh yes, at the end when he's sitting in the Enola Gay, which is there. Anyway, yeah, that's the Enola Gay. At the end he says, "The nuclear bomb, will it fall again?" Well, it's the 311 reference. Anyway, so you've had this Space Needle. You know, at the end of the last episode, you got the Enola Gay and nuke references, all the way. Well, at the end of this one, especially. Then Connections 3 is called Explosive. No, it's not. It's called Distant Voices, but he says explosive change. Again, you got 311, right? Seattle false flag, explosive change. Then number 4. Right, listen to this. You're gonna love this.
Paper so cheap it spurred the development of printing, of books that interested people in things like automated organs, whose pegged cylinders gave the French silk weavers the opportunity to run their looms with perforated cards that Hollerith used to count Americans who had once passed through this hall in Ellis Island. Gateway to the one country that more than any other would fall apart if it weren't for Hollerith's card, used to program the computers without whose help the entire massive structure of the modern world would fall down. Most of the other would fall apart if it weren't for Hollerith's card, used to program the computers without whose help the entire massive structure of the modern world would fall down. Most of the ancestors, gateway to the one country that more than any other would fall apart if it weren't for Hollerith's card, used to program the computers without whose help the entire massive structure of the modern world would fall down. Most of the